Shalom. Call law praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechakwadash. Double honor to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, those of men that taught me this 100% truth. Peace and blessings and safety unto the Lord's elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the planet Earth, mainly in America, who are pushing His word in humility and sincerity as commanded by Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And, I just want to speak on, how Jake, when I say Jake, I'm referring to the 12 tribes of Jacob, how we should be moving, in this world. The scriptures say they that use this world as not abusing it, for the past fashion of this world passeth away. It also says to be not entangled with the cares and affairs of this life, so that you may please Him that have chosen us to be a soldier. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you're not involved in anything in this world, because obviously you have to have a job. You have to, first of all, you got to get a job, then you got to keep a job, and then you got to handle your business. Okay, you have to handle your worldly business. And there is a spirit in Israel where Jake will get comfortable with not doing any of that. Okay, and that's off. All right, that's a sluggard spirit, that could come upon any of us, but you got to snap out of it, and you got to pull yourself by your bootstraps, like Esau say, and get a job, keep a job. You're not gonna like your job because this is captivity, but you keep the job, like the elder in Chicago always say, we're gonna be the best slave until Yahweh Shai come and get us up out of here. Okay, and then you have to handle your worldly business, and if you're not doing that, then you're not in the right spirit. You need to examine yourself and pray to the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that He would give you a job, give you the spirit to maintain a job, and give you the spirit to handle your business. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. And see, that's also a decree that the apostles put out. They said that every brother should have a job or a hustle, and every brother should, be handling their worldly business. The elders in Dallas, I believe his name is Elder Ariala, he always speaks on handling your worldly business and how Jake should be moving, not accumulating debt. If you got debt, trying to eliminate the debt, paying your tickets, paying your fines, paying your whatever you got on your record or on your license. Get in a license, get in a car if you're in a city that you need a vehicle. This is what we should be doing while we're here. That's a part of the faith, because it's going to go on to say it in a precept I'm going to read. It's going to go on to say that if you're not doing these things, then it says if you are an unbeliever, because the scriptures command you to do this. Okay, it says for even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. You see? So this was going on back then, and of course you're going to have it going on now. So these things need to be said on video, as they were back then said through these epistles by the Apostle Paul. It says, yet we hear that some of you are living idle lives, refusing to work and meddling in other people's business. So you can't be the type to refuse to work. Okay, you have to work. Okay, because nobody's going to take care of you. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai takes care of us when we apply ourselves, when we do what He has commanded us. This is not a Hebrew Israelite group home. I'm quoting the elder from Dallas again. This is not a Hebrew Israelite group home, or Boy Scouts. Everybody, we need all hands on deck, and we need every brother to pull their own weight. Every brother is worth their weight in gold, but we have to show forth the actions to prove it. In the kingdom, of course, we're not going to be doing any physical labor, but we will be handling business. So we need to handle our business now. Yahweh Shai said, because thou hast been faithful over a few things. Let me get that. This is Matthew chapter 25 and verse 21. I'm going to start at verse 20. It says, and so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents. Now we know the talents is going into, your teachings. Okay. And it's the same thing. All these scriptures, they apply. The ones that I'm reading about working and not eating, hey, they apply spiritually to teaching in the ministry. Okay. If you're not doing your videos, if you're being idle and not doing your videos, that's a problem. It says, because you want to reap the benefits of it when Jacob's trouble come. Okay. It said, I must work the work of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. So there's going to come a day where we don't have to clock in. There's going to come a day where we don't have to pay bills. But that day is not here yet. Okay. It says, and so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. So we just got to be faithful over these few things, man. Doing the ministry, keeping your Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai first. Handling our worldly business in this society, taking care of the brothers, taking care of your own household, and enduring until the end, man. The tasks that the Lord has given us are not hard, but you can make it hard in your mind. Satan can make it hard in your mind. It says here in 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 8, but if any provide not for his own, especially those of his own house, he have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Because how can you say that you believe in the Lord, yet you're not willing to provide for the ones that are in your house? Okay, how your woman gonna look at you? That's why the scriptures say a woman, if she maintain her husband, this is why a lot of brothers go through it with their woman, because of the situation that the brother is in. And I've been there before. That scripture is true. You go extended periods of time, you ain't bringing in no money, and all of a sudden you get no respect in your own house. But rightfully so, because you're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be trying to get work. You're supposed to be trying to maintain jobs so you can have a steady flow of income, so that you can, better yourself in this captivity, man. And obviously, like I said, we're not, we're hastening the day. There's a balance to this. If you can't understand the balance, you got to pray to the Lord to understand the balance. Because the Lord said, be not over righteous much, neither be thou over wicked. So obviously we're not trying to have careers here and all of that, but at the same time, you should be trying to put yourself in a better position to ease the captivity, to ease your burden in this captivity. Let me say it like that. Because obviously we're not going to be able to, eliminate the curses or anything like that. But handle your business. Handle your business. Okay? Don't take advantage of the brotherhood. Don't take advantage of the safety net that the Lord has given us through the brothers. And say, well, I got a safety net, so I'm going to just jump. No. Get yourself a parachute. Get yourself a, if you could catch my drift with my analogy, like, do things so that you are a asset to the body as well. Okay? Because there's brothers in every camp that struggle to maintain jobs. And I've went a period of time where I struggled to maintain a job. Okay, so I could speak on it and say that the Lord could take that spirit off of you and get you a job and allow you to maintain a job, and then bless you to get a better job or a better situation. But you don't want to be an infidel. Let's go to the word infidel. Because if you say you have denied the faith, and it's worse than an infidel. It's the word infidel. It obviously means an unbeliever. In meaning not. And fidel goes to fidelity, which is faith.
Strong's G 571. Apistos. Apistos.
It says faithless, unfaithful, not to be trusted. So you don't want to be an individual who's looked at as not to be trusted. You know, you had Ananias and Sapphira. They dropped dead because they kept back the price of the money. When it was time to bring all of the money to the body and the congregation, that shows you that they were using the congregation for their own personal gain. But when it was time for everybody to put all their ducks in the same row, and everybody to bring their resources together so that it could be evenly distributed amongst the body, they wasn't with it. They wanted to keep back some of their own possessions for themselves. You see? So we don't want to be in that spirit. Ananias and Sapphira, they weren't to be trusted. They were infidels. It turns out they were infidels and they dropped dead at the apostles' feet. It says incredible of things, unbelieving. Right, incredible meaning not believable. Incredulous, without trust in the Most High. Okay? So don't be a lazy individual. Okay? It says, Proverbs 26:13, I'm going to close with this. The slothful man saith, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the street. Right. Yeah, a slothful, a lazy person got every excuse to be lazy. You know, they will make up every excuse to not work, to not sweat. But the Lord said, through the sweat of thy brow, let me get that. And that was on Adam. That was the curse upon Adam. So this goes past the Apostle Paul. This goes all the way to Adam. Bear with me. Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. It says, in the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and dust shalt thou return. Meaning what? You, in order to eat, you gonna sweat. You're gonna work. Point blank, period, end of story. Can't get around it. Okay? And the Lord is not with slothfulness. He's not with sluggardness. He's not with laziness. That's an ungodly spirit. Yeah, in the kingdom we're going to rest, but the Lord is still with the Israelite man working. Why you think we in captivity? Because the Lord want to see us work. Proverbs 26:13, the slothful man saith, there's a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets. As the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful upon his bed. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom. It grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that could render a reason. You see? And you know, a lazy individual, here it is, he get counsel from brothers, but he always got a better plan. But yet his plan never comes through because it allows him to still be lazy. It says a sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that could render a reason. So the Lord is trying to allow these sluggard individuals to get from out of that sluggardness, just like a homeless person. You see a homeless person, you say, man, look, man, you look like you could, you know, you're an able-bodied man. I could go get an application. Oh, this is, you know, I gotta get on my feet first. How you gonna get on your feet? How you gonna get on your feet if you ain't got no job? You know? If you ever had a family member in the world that lived with you, and this individual was just lazy as all hell, didn't want to get a job. Every time you tell him about getting a job, he always had an excuse as to why he don't have to go to that particular place, but he gonna go somewhere else. They're wise in their own conceit because, again, their own conceit allows them to live that comfortable, soft life. But the Lord is not with that. The Lord wants us to work. Okay? So, lowliness, edifying, just a quick hit. Kwam Yasharal. Shalom.